Time now for weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Al Dutcher. Good to see you, Al. Give us an idea of what we've got in the forecast as we head into fall.
Well, Troy, just to be on a more serious note, it does look like we are going to deal with some more active weather here as we go into the fall period, and we're seeing that already starting up over this last week. And my suspicion is that we will have something similar to some of the conditions we felt last fall with these troughs coming in the western United States. I just think we're going to see the placement of the heavier precipitation a little bit farther north than we've seen last year. And we've seen that already this week, as I said. Very heavy rainfall across the Dakotas, northern Nebraska. Yet as we got towards southern Nebraska, kind of a hit and miss depending on where you were at. Some were winners and some were losers, unfortunately, in this precipitation game. And of course, we had to deal with the strong winds and hail. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, with another long wave trough coming into the western United States, it is going to result in some warmer weather this next week. But again, we're going to start to increase our thunderstorm chances as the week progresses, and potentially seeing some more heavy precipitation across the Dakotas, Minnesota, portions of Iowa, and potentially north central and northeastern Nebraska once again. So as we go to the upper models, we'll notice that we have a little zonal flow with just a little wave that has been moving through the region and is starting to head toward the Great Lakes. Our next big system that will enter the United States is basically coming into the western United States, and we have a surface low pressure in eastern Dakotas this morning. And we do have the opportunity with that low pressure system around to see some isolated thunderstorms in eastern Nebraska, but they'll be very isolated. Then on Sunday or tomorrow, we see this big trough digging. That's going to pump a lot of warmth air back into our region, and we're going to return to normal to slightly above normal temperatures. As we go into the latter half of the weekend, there is still the chance for some thunderstorm activity, but most of it looks like it's going to be over Iowa. Then on Monday, this trough really deepens. That's going to bring a very warm fetch of air from the southwest and at the surface from this Gulf of Mexico. So that's going to bring the humidity levels up, and temperatures are going to move back well up into the mid to upper 80s with some 90s in the southwest possible. Most of the precipitation will remain to the west of us. But on Tuesday, we start to see a first piece of energy moving out of that trough, and that's going to support this upper or the surface low over the Dakotas. So deep fetch of moisture moving northward, but most of the impacts will be felt across the northern Rockies, less so as you move east of the Rockies. By Wednesday, this low begins to pivot toward the Great Lakes. That's going to increase the energy coming from the southwest to the central plains. Low pressure develops over the Texas Panhandle and the Nebraska Panhandle. And the initial wave looks like it's going to generate moisture across the eastern half of the state with the best opportunity across northwest Iowa and points to the north. On Thursday, this trough starts to open up, and we see a low pivoting out of that at the surface over southwestern Kansas. That should bring a deep fetch of moisture into our region, and we'll see a pretty good complex of thunderstorms. Right now it's painted over Iowa. I would not be surprised that we'll see some of it back up toward eastern Nebraska. And then on Friday, we finally start to see this trough lifting up toward the northern plains. Surface low over central Nebraska is projected to form along with northeastern Wyoming. That should generate some very heavy precipitation, unfortunately, for those areas that have been hit so bad this last week with heavy precipitation. Lesser amounts as you move toward the Kansas-Nebraska border. And if we look at the long term, which takes us from next Thursday to the following Tuesday, with that trough in the upper atmosphere moving up into the northern plains, we still expect most of the period to average above normal, although this will start to bring some cooler weather and below normal temperatures to the northern plains, so this might be extended a little bit farther toward the east. In terms of precipitation, of course, with a trough to our west ejecting systems out on a continual basis, a good bet that we're going to see above normal moisture. The best area for above normal risk for high moisture is eastern Nebraska, although this may be pivoted just slightly to our east. So overall this next week we are looking at warmer temperatures. We are going to see an increasing chance for thunderstorm activity as we move through the week, and then that system will clear us as we get into next weekend, and we'll watch for cold air developing to move down the last full week of September. So Troy, looks like, at least from a perspective for the corn reaching maturity, we have some favorable weather ahead of us, but cooler weather is in store as we move to the last full week of the month.